Alrighty, howdy folks, how are ya? Think we're okay. Um, okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, well, at any rate, howdy folks, hope you're well. We are in the painting mode on this scene, so that's what we're doing today. Let's see, I believe. Okay, alright, so, alright, just to get a bead on what's what. Alright, so I think what we're going to be doing here, first of all, we're going to set our brush, draws behind. We need to go to a solid brush, I think, right? Let's see, hold up, maybe better check. No, we're not going to go to a solid brush. We're going to go to an air brush. Alright, so that would be this one. And, okay. And then we're going to bring the size up a little bit. Alright. Okay. Let's see. I think we're going to have to simplify the colors on this from a wide distance here. Probably a middle tone. Let's see if we bring this up a bit. Like that. Yeah, we might need to simplify this a little bit. So maybe have three colors here that we use for the whale. Just to kind of simplify what's going on. Yeah. So what I'm using is the blue color, which was the water, I believe, from the previous. And we may end up using that again. But I have a feeling that for the water in this scene, probably going to end up with a darker color for the water. I'm going to estimate that it'll be a darker color for the water. So, you know, because we're cutting in this scene we're cutting to a new scene. So because we're cutting to a new scene, the colors don't have to match exactly. They can be close or there can be similarities, but you don't have to necessarily have everything be the same, exact same color, but I think it has to mimic, or at least it has to reflect what previous stuff was so that it doesn't look too different. And the girl, of course, is not painted here because she's so small that, you know, you're just going to see her as a silhouette. Yeah. Some things the eye can follow easily. No, you don't necessarily always have to have everything spelled out perfectly. I think you can have you're going to have certain things that you're going to need to be there, but you can kind of get away with an impression. It can serve the scene nicely. And I think that's what's happening here. I think this is going to serve the scene fine. I think. Yeah. And because I'm using an airbrush, it kind of also it literally is softening the movement so that if there was something that was really abrupt, you wouldn't really it wouldn't be too noticeable or it wouldn't be too jarring. I'm using a gray color in the middle, a blue color on the top, and a light blue on the underneath. I'm using the light blue underneath to sort of, well, I guess you could say that there's a reflection of light coming up from the bottom of the ocean, but um, I'm not trying to make too much of that. I'm indicating it, but I'm not making a huge thing out of it. And I do think then that the water around all of the characters here would be darker than it would have been in the previous scene. There's a middle gray color here. Okay, and then the light blue color is the light underneath. Yeah. Now once the whale starts to turn, then it's a little easier to get away with color shifts because you're seeing a different side of the whale. The gray in the middle is going to diminish somewhat. And then the blue underneath will be lesser as well because it's covering less area. Yeah. Then as the whale turns more, so that you're seeing more of the top of the whale, so then you're probably going to see more of the blue color on the top of the whale because you're seeing more of the top. You'd be seeing less of the gray, so you can minimize that just a bit. And then the blue on the bottom is also going to be minimized because you're seeing less of the bottom of the whale. So you see how it's turning, right? Now here, you're seeing most of the top of the whale. So that's going to sort of carry through on all of the top parts of the whale. So you're going to have a much bigger area here that's going to be that same blue color. The tops of the fins and all that. Less of the gray because we're seeing less of it from this direction. And then the same thing is true for the blue underneath is going to be minimal because we're not seeing as much of the underneath, which also contributes to the whale turning. There's so many factors as you can see, in animation, many factors involved outside of just the drawing, outside of the color, the color changes, um, dimensional changes on the character. There's all sorts of things that you're paying attention to in an animated scene. So you can see that you can this if anything, I guess what it really does is it really exemplifies the amount of work that's involved in making an animated film, because you can see that there's so many things you've got to be paying attention to when you're doing it. And that, you see, is the artistry, is that you're being you're literally being careful to appreciate all of the aspects of what it takes to make the film work. I think what I'll do on this is I think I'll just follow through on the one whale here at a time instead of trying to deal with all of them at the same time. Then that way I can be more thorough. I can make sure that I've covered, it is difficult to do one more than one thing at a time. So just follow through on one character in terms of the color. Because in most cases when you're working on a scene, whoops, go back. So there, I think what I'll do is use the lighter blue. Let that be the highlight there. Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that you're trying to keep track of. So, and also too, because of the way this is being done, this is a unique way of working because you are carrying all of the elements together, all of the characters together in one drawing. Whereas, for the most part, in most cases, you probably would be separating characters. You probably wouldn't have all your characters in the scene at the same time, and be dealing with them all at the same time. Chances are that you wouldn't be doing that. You would be handling each one separately. I believe we're losing this guy. Yeah, well, we're losing everybody after the big guy comes through the scene, which is kind of was the point of having him do that, so that we could lose the other whales, so we don't have to keep drawing them. Yeah. Okay. Let's play that. Splash. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good. That's good. All right. Let's see here. Hold on. I forgot I had this on the bigs. Okay, let me pull that up there where you guys can see it better. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so I guess then probably we can go. Now here's a thought. Now I think as I start to bring in the next whale, I'm sort of thinking that maybe what I want to do is not paint them the same colors. Yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So let's do this then. I'll have the new whale come in, but I'm gonna have his colors be different. So I'm gonna go with a brown color. Well, let's see, maybe a gray color? Hmm. Well, brown could be good. Let's see. Let me come out of that. Let's see, maybe a lighter brown. So, because I want to see the details on this guy. So let's do this. We'll have lighter brown there, and maybe even a kind of an orangish color underneath here. Yeah. Yeah. Then they'll stand out, see, from each other. We won't have to feel like, even though, yeah, I mean, they're both whales, of course, but we can make we can distinguish between the two. They don't have to be the same color. And it's believable. Yeah. Okay. And as we see more of the whale come into the scene, we can go ahead and make the area that we're painting bigger. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, one thing that you can do, um, another thing that you can do is you could um, create a piece of art that you could just copy, paste, and drag through the scene. Or yeah, I mean, you can do something like that and that works great. By the way, it's not a bad way to go. It's certainly faster than what I'm doing. I mean, doing literally having to paint each frame, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I'll be honest, I don't have a problem with it. I'm accustomed to the mundaneness of having to do frame by frame on stuff. It's just something that it was the way I learned what I've learned, so I don't mind the having to do each frame. I mean, to me, that's really what animation is. And I think most of us who do it and enjoy it are not going to shy away from the sheer work involved in making animation. It's like we know about all the hard work involved, or the number of frames you have to draw, and all that stuff. So, none of us who have been in this business for any length of time are even remotely afraid of that. We're just not. It doesn't bother me that I've got to color however many frames I'd have to color to do this. Okay, now like here, for instance, I'm going to go backwards on this because I don't want to color that area around his eye the same color. I want to put a different color in there. So, so you see something like that, for instance. If you're doing, like, let's say if I was doing um, if I were to do like a really detailed color of the whale, I could probably, do even like on a really painterly version of the whale. Um, and like I said, then you're dragging the artwork through the scene, so you could afford to have a very, very illustrated image because you're not having to paint it carefully for each frame, if you get my meaning there. But in this case, um, because I literally did redraw or retrace it for every frame here, then in that case, then I'm having to do what I'm doing, or I'm choosing to do what I'm doing. So yeah, see. And then on the eye, oh yeah, green. That could be kind of nice. Yeah, huh? Let's see. Let's bring this down. Yeah, have a green eye. That's nice. Maybe have a little highlight in his eye. Yeah, like there you go. Green eye. And maybe, let's see, maybe kind of a little burnt umber color around it so it's a little hotter there. Mmm, that's kind of cool. Kind of almost gives them a slightly prehistoric kind of look. Wow, I like that. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. Well, that's fun. So, the more you put into what you're doing, obviously, the more work you've got to do. Every time you create another layer of something that you're doing, you're then creating another, um, I guess you could say, layer of difficulty to go like, okay, now I got to paint that every time I see it, or I've got to redraw it every time I see it, or whatever. But I don't know. Like I said, on the other side of that, I think that the quality of the love of doing something and getting a certain flavor in your final film is kind of a part of making it, really, I would think, or I do think. So, all of that is a part of what you're doing when you're making the film. You're enjoying the process and everything about it, really. Or I'm enjoying the process and everything. Let me put it like that. See, I see also too. Here's another thing to take into account too. I see, like everybody talks about AI and they worry about AI, but see, I see AI as an assistant to do a lot of the things that you don't want to do, or do a lot of the things that you do that you have to do. But if you can prompt it properly, I would think that you would be able to get some pretty effective results. I would think. And the beauty of that is you could do it, and the AI is truly an assistant. It's working along with you. Um, you know, so I got to kind of think that that's a plus. I would think, because there is a quality to the individual. It's like when you're working on anything, the less number of people involved in the process of making something, I think the more, what's the word, the more the individual quality of it or the individual feel of it is more noticeable. So an artist is making his own painting, he's making his own work. But the process of getting it made, is unique because each artist has his own unique way of seeing things. So, but the AI should be seen as an assistant or a help to accomplish that. As artists, we don't want to lose our individuality, the thing that makes what we do unique. However, the means by which we accomplish that is going to be so different, you know. So I guess you have to decide what that means for you. You know, everybody is going to have a different way of doing things, and that's beautiful and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But I think you end up finding like, well, what is that? What is that unique thing that you do? Say that nobody else is going to do. You know. You have to figure out what that is. That's going to be different for everybody. All right. Well, we're at 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. So, anyways, hey, hope you all had a great day. I made this video a little later in the day. It's right now, what is it? It's on the 29th of September. Yes. And it's almost 11 o'clock at night. So, have a beautiful evening, what's left of it. And I will see you good folks in the morning, or see you in the morning tomorrow. All right. Have a beautiful one. And remember, Jesus is Lord.